Oh, hi. Welcome again to the Old Principal. I am the Old Principal, and we teach a little English, a little philosophy, and share lots of stories. Now, we're going to talk about a very special lady. And the title of it is, the title of the book is The Courageous Heart of Irena Sendler, but I have entitled this lesson, Angel in Plumber's Coveralls. You know what coveralls are? It's 工作服, 服装. Okay, it's the clothes that you wear, but usually, well, you know what to cover means. To cover means to go over, to 掩盖, to cover something. Well, sometimes you wear something on the outside. It's called coveralls. It's 工作服, okay? But it's a special one. You don't take off your clothes underneath. It's your special work clothes. Angel 天使穿着 OK 这个水工啊 the coveralls, this special clothes. Now, do angels wear that? Well, this angel did, but we need a storyteller. You know what? We need a storyteller. Here we go. Okay, this is my angel. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Few people knew the little old lady in the tiny apartment behind Fifth Street Market. She was quiet and pretty much kept to herself. But all that changed in May 2008 when the 98-year-old Polish lady died. She was apparently unknown. Maybe there wouldn't even be a funeral, or if there was a funeral, it certainly would be small. But the funeral was held in the largest cathedral in town, and by the time the service started, there wasn't even a place to stand, let alone to get a seat. Irena Sendler, during World War II, she got permission to work in the Warsaw Ghetto as a plumbing sewer specialist. But she had a mission. She knew that the Nazis planned to kill all the Jews, and she wanted to save the children. Irena smuggled infants out in the bottom of her toolbox, and in the back of her truck she had a burlap sack for the larger children. She had a dog in the back of the truck that she trained to bark when the Nazi soldiers let her in and out of the ghetto. The soldiers were afraid of the dog, and the barking covered up the noise of the children. She managed to save 2,500 children before she was caught.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Yes. And what kind of thanks was she given for her efforts? The Nazis broke both her legs and her arms and beat her severely, but they let her live. Irena kept the names of all the children that she smuggled out of the ghetto in a glass jar buried under a tree in her backyard. After the war, she tried to locate any parents who had survived and reunited the families. Of course, most of the parents had died, but she helped those children to be adopted or placed with foster families. So, now you know the history of Irena Sendler. Now you know why her funeral was so large. For sure, she was an angel in plumber's coveralls.
That would have been really neat if we could have met her.
Yes.
But it's very interesting that the later parts of her life, so quiet, nobody knew who she was, and so on. Okay, we will let you take a little rest, and we will look at the angel in plumber's coveralls. This is actually the I think title of the book. It looks like it's the cover of a book. So you can look up the book, and that might be a good read. You'll enjoy reading something like that. Go ahead. Few people knew the old lady in the tiny apartment behind the Fifth Street Market. 很少的人就认识 the old lady, 老女人呢。Okay, and she's she's 98 years old, so she's really, really pretty old. In the tiny apartment, 小小的公寓 behind the Fifth Street Market. Okay, 第五街的市场. Okay. She was quiet and pretty much just kept to herself. She was a very quiet person. 很安静的一个人. Okay? And pretty much kept to herself. What does it mean? Pretty much kept to herself. That means that she just did her own thing. She just did the things that she needed to make a living, 能够过生活. She just did that. She didn't go out and socialize or go out with lots of people. She just quietly was in her own little home, in her own little world going on. But all that changed in May 2008. May 2008. So that's not too long ago. May 2008 is a little more than 3 years ago, at least at this moment when we're making this program. She was 98 years old at that time. She's Polish. That means she's from Poland. Poland is part of Ojo, Europe, Poland. So you say Polish lady. Okay. She died. She was 98 years old, and she died on May 2008. Going on. She was apparently 好像无名氏无名的人 no name. Nobody knew who she was. And maybe there wouldn't even be a funeral. 或许连一个丧礼也不会开的. Nobody knew who she was. So who would take care of the funeral, 这个丧礼谁要负责? See, nobody knew her. And if there was a funeral,万一有丧礼, just a few people would go. Very few people would go because 好像没有人就认识她. But that changed. Going on. But the funeral was held in the largest cathedral in town. 在城市最大的教堂就举行这个丧礼. A cathedral is a big church. When you think of cathedral, think of church. But usually a cathedral is much bigger and more expensive. Okay? And often it's usually older. Cathedrals, we think of cathedrals from history. especially cathedrals in Europe. 这个欧洲有 cathedrals, they're big churches. And by the time the service started, 这个丧礼一开始的时候 there wasn't even a place to stand. 没有站立的位置。Why? Too many people. Too many people. There wasn't even a place to stand. 没有站立的位置Yet alone get a seat. 何况有座位。何况 let alone 何况 That's good English. 何况 to get a seat. 连站的也没有，何况这个座位。Irina, my wife said Irina. You know why my wife said Irina? Because she has a friend by the name of Iran. So it sounds almost the same. And she comes from somewhere over there. Irina Sendler, during World War II, WW2, this is 第二次世界大战 She got permission, 她就获得这个准许 to work in a Warsaw ghetto. Okay, Warsaw is the capital of Poland. Ghettos, 贫民区. This is where all the poor people lived. Okay, in this case, it was a Jewish ghetto. The Jewish ghetto. This is where the 犹太人住的一个地方. Now she was a plumbing and sewer specialist. Okay, 水管以及排水的专家 specialist 专家. So this is her job. She is a plumbing specialist. In fact, we call them plumbers. Okay, these are the people. And in America, if you need a plumber, it's very expensive nowadays. But in those days, she had a mission. 她有一个任务. You could say 使命, but 任务 is better. She knew what she was going to do. She had a plan. She knew that the Nazis, 这个从德国来的那个 Nazis, okay, the Nazis planned 计划 to kill all the Jews. 要杀所有的犹太人. Now, she knew this. Now the next question is, what did she want to do? She wanted to save the children. She couldn't save the adults, but she wanted to save the children. Going on. Irina smuggled infants out in the bottom of her toolbox. Wow. Okay. Smuggled, 托运. Okay, 托运. Okay, infants, 这个小小的小孩 out in the bottom of her toolbox. Toolbox is a 工具箱 So she smuggled these infants out in the bottom of her toolbox, and in the back of her truck, 就在她的卡车后面 Okay, 她的卡车后面 She had a burlap sack for the larger children. 她有一个粗的麻布 burlap 麻布 Americans say gunny sack, but burlap sack 粗的麻布 burlap sack for the 比较大的孩子们 Okay, so you got 儿童 infants and larger children, and she has the way. But now going on, she had a dog in the back of her truck. Aha! 在她的卡车后面有一个狗啊 Okay, that she trained 叫做训练它，就训练它叫 when the Nazis, okay, 纳粹的士兵let her in and out of the ghetto. So do you see what's happening? Here she is. She's driving the car, okay? I mean truck. It's a truck. Okay. She's driving. She comes up to the edge of the ghetto. Okay. Here are the Nazi soldiers, Nazi 的士兵. And suddenly the dog sees the soldiers. And what does he do? He opens his mouth and you see his teeth. Yeah. And he barks. Jiao, jiao, jiao. And what do the soldiers think? Oh, no thanks, thanks. Go ahead, go, 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 go. And so that's the way it is. Going on. Okay, the soldiers were afraid of the dog, and the barking, 掩盖, covered up the noise of the children. Imagine, 可以想到这个儿童在工具箱不是很快乐. Okay, I can imagine that infants were not very happy in the bottom of the toolbox. Go ahead. She managed, 好不容易 managed to save 2,500 children before she was caught. 还没有被抓的时候，她救了2500个孩子们. Going on. And what kind of thanks was she given for her efforts? 这个人家怎么感谢她呢? Of course, this is a 纳粹. 她这样出力救了这么多孩子们，怎么样呢? Go ahead. The Nazis broke both her legs and her arms. 纳粹就弄断她的两个脚，她两个腿，她两个手臂。Okay, and beat her severely. 打她，打得很厉害。But they let her live. 还是让她这个生存下去。Irina kept the names of the children that she smuggled out of the ghetto in a glass jar buried under a tree in her backyard. Wow, this is a long sentence, so let's go back here. Irina kept the names. 她是保留这个儿童，这个孩子们的名字、姓名。Okay, what 孩子们 or what children? The ones she smuggled out 这个偷运从这个贫民区偷运出来的。Where did she keep the names? In a glass jar, 玻璃瓶。Where was the glass jar? Buried, 埋在一棵树下面。 Where was the tree? In her backyard, 在院子里. Okay, so she has a record, 她有记录 of all 2,500. Can you imagine that? Wow, 不简单啊. Go ahead. After the war, 这个打仗完毕结束的时候, she tried to locate any parents who had survived and reunited the families. She tried to locate, 找到, locate means 去寻找, 找 parents who had 有生存下去. In other words, those parents that were not killed. She tried to locate them and reunited the families. What does that mean? To reunite the families? To reunite the families means to get the fathers and the mothers and the children all back together again. If possible. If possible. Of course, most of the parents had died. 当然大部分的父母亲他们就去世了. But she helped the children to be adopted. 帮助他们能够被领养. Okay? So we say, actually I have two sisters. I have two sisters. 是我父母亲收养的. Okay? Or a place with foster families. A foster home is a place, a house where people, families, take care of children that don't have a family. They're not exactly adopted, 不是收养的, but still they take care of them and pay for them, and the government actually gives money as to help them, at least in America. Go ahead. So now you know the history of Irena Sendler. 现在你了解她的故事. Now you know why her funeral. 你现在知道为什么她的丧礼 was so large, 是这么大. Again, remember, it was so large, 连站的位置没有，何况座位，根本没有. For sure, in this case, 毫无疑问. 毫无疑问. For sure means without a doubt. Without a doubt. She was an angel. 她就是一个天使，穿着水工水管专家的工作服 coveralls. So now you know the story of Irene Sendler. Now, if we could ask Mrs. Ash to come here, we'll ask her for her. Sometimes we say a penny for your thoughts, but anyway, no, I'll give you more than that. Okay, now the question is, have you ever heard of Irene Sendler before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
So if you haven't heard of her, what do you think of this story at this point?
Well, she was a brave and generous woman.
Yeah. Can you imagine 2,500 children before she got 还没有被这个纳粹抓的, she saved 2,500. That's impressive.
That is very
Okay.
much.
I'd like to meet her dog. I mean, the dog was well trained because the soldiers were afraid of the dog. Yeah. Yes, yes.
He was her assistant.
Yes, he was, for sure, he was a very big help. And she was a little lady, too. It says here that she was a little old lady. She was not a tall person. So I think that sometimes these stories of courage, it just, for me, it's encouraging.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever had a chance to really be courageous and do something heavy like that?
Well, I remember one time I had to go out because a man was attacked, and I had to go out and find someone to help. And maybe it was a police or something.
Okay, so you heard a sound outside, and you ran outside to find a policeman to help the man.
I don't know if the man came to my house or if it was someone that said, quick, go get someone. I think it was the man himself, though, that said he had been
Maybe 被别人打的 somebody and so you had to go out there, and of course you were saying, oh, I hope the bad guys are not out there.
I did a lot of praying.
You did a lot of praying.
Yes.
But this is amazing because this happened year after year. Well, I don't know how long, but 2,500 babies and children, that's a lot.
And maybe some of those people that came to the funeral were from Europe.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, and from many, many different places. They have a way of remembering these things.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story. I think there's a movie. So if you ever have a chance, look at the movie. I'm sure it'll be inspiring.
I'd love
Okay. You can write an email address to us, theoldprincipal@gmail.com. Or you could go to our website, www.theoldprincipal.org. Hey, it's been nice to be with you, and we would like for you to join us again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.